Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be describing about the details of the Dix-Hallpike maneuver. Now, the uses of Dix-Hallpike maneuver are that when the patient complains of vertigo, especially in a certain head position, which is called benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, in which a patient when turns his head and it comes into a critical position, then the patient complains of vertigo. So especially for BPPV, Dix-Hallpike is a maneuver which is used for the diagnosis of BPPV. And another use of Dix-Hallpike maneuver is that it helps to differentiate a peripheral from a central lesion. That is, the nystagmus generated in the peripheral lesion, it has different characteristics as compared to the nystagmus which is generated from a central pathology. So what are those differences? That also we'll see. So before that, first we'll see how Dix-Hallpike maneuver is performed.
So to perform the Dix-Hallpike maneuver, first of all we explain the procedure to the patient. The patient is seated on a couch, and then if I am expecting some pathology of the right ear or right ear BPPV, then I turn the head of the patient 45 degree towards the right side, and then abruptly I bring the patient down in such a way that the head hangs from the edge of the table at 30 degree, and then I look for any nystagmus in the eyes of the patient, and if I am not able to visualize the nystagmus, then I can use the Frenzen glasses for magnification. So that is if I am suspecting any right ear pathology. Similarly, for left ear pathology, I can turn the head of the patient towards the left side, and then put the patient in the supine position with head hanging from the edge of the table. The third part of Dix-Hallpike maneuver is the patient is kept in the supine position and the head is hanged from the table 30 degree without moving to either side. So if there is any central pathology, then the nystagmus can develop in this position. So that is called, this is the Dix-Hallpike maneuver. Now this Dix-Hallpike maneuver, it is more suitable or it is more useful for the diagnosis of posterior as well as superior canal BPPV. But if you want to diagnose lateral canal BPPV, then there is one more procedure which is called modified Dix-Hallpike maneuver. So that I will show you. So in modified Dix-Hallpike maneuver, the patient is kept in the supine position and the head is not hanging, it is on the couch itself. And then suppose I am suspecting of right lateral semicircular canal, then abruptly I will turn the head of the patient towards the right side such that the ear will be touching the couch, and then I will look for any nystagmus in the eyes of the patient. And peripheral lesions, they have a latency, so maybe sometimes the nystagmus does not develop initially, but it develops after some latency of say 2 to 20 seconds. So we have to continuously look for 30 seconds. Then again I will keep the head in the central position, then again wait for sometimes say 1 or 2 minutes, and for the opposite ear I will abruptly turn the head of the patient towards the left side, and then look for any nystagmus which develops in the eye. So that is modified Dix-Hallpike maneuver.
Now the interpretation of the Dix-Hallpike maneuver. So the direction of the nystagmus which develops during the Dix-Hallpike maneuver, it gives us an idea that which canal is involved. So if the direction of the nystagmus is upbeating plus rotatory, that is, here we have two components. One is vertical component which is upbeating, and second one is torsional component which is rotatory. So if this is the direction, then it points towards the posterior semicircular canal BPPV, which is the most common variety of BPPV. If the direction of the nystagmus is downbeating plus rotatory, then it is seen in superior semicircular canal BPPV, which is a very rare entity. And if the direction of the nystagmus is purely vertical, which is usually downbeat, that is we see during the hand hanging position, then it points towards a central pathology. Then in the modified Dix-Hallpike maneuver, if the direction of the nystagmus is horizontal, which can be geotropic, that is towards the downward ear, or ageotropic, that is away from the downward ear, but the direction is horizontal. So this type is seen in lateral semicircular canal BPPV. So we here see that Dix-Hallpike maneuver can differentiate between different canals involved and can also differentiate a central as well as a peripheral pathology. Now there are certain characteristics of the nystagmus by which we can know whether the nystagmus is because of a peripheral lesion or a central lesion. So first is the latency. In peripheral lesions, the nystagmus has a latency of 2 to 20 seconds. That is, after the manure, the nystagmus does not develop initially, but it develops after some latent period of 2 to 20 seconds. But there is no latency in nystagmus of the central pathology. Then the duration of peripheral lesions, nystagmus of the peripheral lesion is generally less than 1 minute, but of central lesion it is more than 1 minute. Then regarding the direction, in peripheral lesions the direction of the nystagmus is fixed, that is towards the undermost ear. While in central lesions the direction is changing, that is why it is called direction changing nystagmus. So with the change in the position of the head, the nystagmus direction changes. Then fatigability, the nystagmus of peripheral lesions, it is fatigable. Fatigable means when we perform the same maneuver again and again, then after some time the nystagmus may disappear because it has fatigued now. But that is not the case with central lesions in which there is continuous nystagmus, it is non-fatigable. Then suppression. So a nystagmus of the peripheral lesion can be suppressed by optic fixation, but that of central pathology it cannot be suppressed. Then some common examples are in peripheral, the most common example of peripheral vertigo it is benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. While some examples of central lesions which can cause nystagmus, they are tumors of the sixth ventricle, cerebellum or temporal lobe, then also seen in multiple sclerosis or vertebrobasilar insufficiency, and also sometimes with raised intracranial tension. So these are some of the differences between peripheral and central nystagmus. And Dix-Hallpike manure is a very good manure to know the type of the nystagmus and also which canal is involved. However, there are certain indications or conditions in which Dix-Hallpike manure should not be performed. If we are suspecting any uh, tumor or any aneurysm of the vessel in the neck, then it should not be performed. Or if there is any pathology in the cervical spine in which the head movements are restricted, so in that also the Dix-Hallpike maneuver should not be performed. Thank you.